mid-40s. Now for the official National Weather Service forecast for the islands of the mid-coast, including Mohegan Island and Mascongos Bay. Tonight, rain. Patchy fog until midnight. Areas of fog after midnight. Lows in the lower 40s. South winds 15 to 25 miles an hour with gusts up to 35 miles an hour. Chance of rain near 100%. Friday, areas of fog in the morning. Partly sunny. Highs in the upper 40s. Southwest winds 15 to 25 miles an hour. Gusts up to 40 miles an hour in the afternoon. Friday night, mostly clear until midnight, then becoming partly cloudy. Lows in the lower 30s. West winds 15 to 20 miles an hour. Gusts up to 35 miles an hour until midnight. Saturday, partly sunny. Northwest winds 15 to 20 miles an hour.
Alrighty, my friends, what is going on, everyone? And welcome back here to another live stream here for tonight. Got ourselves a forecast here in the table for us for tonight. Like I said, yesterday we had a long coverage. Honestly, I'm kind of glad the way that everything played out because it was actually a little bit underperformed, which is good news, meaning could have been a lot worse. But anyways, my friends, hope you all are doing all right. Let's go ahead and see who is here for today. We have Caden, we have Robbie. Robbie saying, will this affect Georgia? Possibly. We'll get more into that here in a moment. Let's see. Cool says hello. What's up? Caden says, okay, Caden say hi. What's up, Caden? By the way, Pat is here. What's up? Brady's here. Red Road's here. What's up, everybody? Hope everyone is doing all right out there. So, let me go ahead and remove these. This is what I use for the intro. Awesome intro music. But anyways, yeah, so we have ourselves a bit to talk about here for today. Obviously, there's two systems we are watching. One's getting ready to happen here actually relatively soon. Basically for the 11th into the 12th. And then there is another system that we have been watching for the last few days that might actually drive the potential for maybe a bit of severe storms, yet again, across the south. And it could be a little bit interesting to see how that does play out here. Anyways, but let's go ahead and get right on into it. So I know you guys are wanting to know about this southeastern snowfall. I mean, it's been a very warm season for you guys. You know, down in the south, I've been in the south here a lot during the winter this year. It's been very warm, and there's been like no snowfall. Obviously, you guys are probably wondering, well, where's all the snowfall going to be here? Here's the NAM 3-kilometer model here. Just looking at a reference point of what we could be seeing here. It looks like we might be seeing a bit of snow. According to the latest NAM 3-kilometer model, so you can start to see how it turns from rain into snow. By the way, this is the timing of around the 12th, kind of around the morning hours. But you can see, obviously areas of Alabama starting to highlight there, and then areas here in maybe there towards Georgia, maybe near Atlanta, might be starting to get highlighted there. But anyways, but regardless, that's basically an early view here from the NAM 3-kilometer model. But there is other models that we can look at today that goes further out in time. And obviously, that's like I said, this is the short range model. We're going to look at the mid range and the extended range models for today to look at what we can expect here. But anyways, Time to Kill says, good evening. What's up, Time to Kill? Hope you're doing all right. Glad to have you here. I don't know if I already said. Brady says, hi. What's up, Brady? Hope you're doing good. I don't know if I already said hi to you or not. Either way, what's up? I hope you're doing good. Okay, so we're going to switch over here. We're going to take a look here at the models. We're going to start off here with the GFS. Like I said, we're going to get all the opinions here. We're going to get all the big picture. We're going to take a look across the south. Like I said, that's kind of the first system we need to look at is across the southeast. Well, actually, both the systems will be impacting the southeast, just different parts of the southeast here. So first off, we have the GFS model. We track way down in time. Once again, the time's on the top right. So, or hold on a second. No, top left for this model, or for this website here. Yeah, so top left here, you can see that's the date. There's February 11th here. So we track away into the day after tomorrow. So, yeah, that's that. So anyway, we track our way down here in time. We got a big old low pressure system moves through. We got a big sweep of cold air back and through areas of Louisiana. As a result of that last system that moved through, it is likely the cold air that's basically driving down even further. New low pressure system develops across areas of Florida and Georgia, kicks its way up here, and maybe, just maybe, there could be a bit of winter weather, including snow, across areas of Georgia, possibly even Alabama. South Carolina could be affected. North Carolina, the mountain ranges, could definitely be possible. Like I said, this is kind of here for, essentially, this is showing here for the 12th. The most of the impacts will be here for the 12th, kind of starting really early. Kind of the early 12th here, which obviously today is the 9th, and today's pretty much over, so this is basically like in Like I said, this is basically like in 2 days here. But anyways, that's kind of what we're looking at there. You know, it's definitely a little interesting to see how this tends to pop off here. But let's go take a look at this. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and look at something, guys. We're gonna look at the accumulations here. Now, what you're about to see, once again, do not take this 100% seriously. Okay, do not take this 100% seriously here. So here's the snowfall according to the GFS model. Now, like I said, it's very, very patchy, which is kind of interesting here. But you can see over a little distance, it goes from literally no snow to a couple inches. That's why I'm saying do not trust this at all. But this is early looks at the GFS, showing a lot of heavy snowfall for those upper level areas here, kind of towards like North Carolina here. Oh yeah, look at that. GFS is going pretty haywire here across the Appalachians, showing a lot of pockets of a foot. But like I said, once again, do not trust that yet. Do not trust this. Okay. So next up, we're gonna look at the European model. We're gonna compare the two now, and we're gonna see just how we're gonna see just how these things compare here. So here's the European model that tracks its way down here. Now, honestly, this one's actually in a fair agreement with the GFS. I'm actually a little surprised here. I actually kind of waited to look at the models here, the latest runs here with you guys. Once again, showing a bit of kind of patchy snowfall across like Georgia, maybe for Alabama there. But it really is highlighting a lot of snow for the Appalachians, which is a little bit interesting here. Interesting. Let's move on back here. Let's see. Ooh, yeah, right there. Not as much for like the areas here in the the Blue Ridge. It's more for like the Smoky Mountain region, which is definitely a little interesting. Now this shows well over a foot. Well over a foot being possible. Once again, do not trust that to be exact. We'll move back here to GFS just to compare that again here. Yeah, so what you can see, yeah, definitely. So the GFS model supports a lot more snow pushed up further north. It supports a lot of that heavy snow pushed more up north. That is definitely a bit concerning. That is definitely a little bit interesting here. Like I said, a lot of the models, both of them we looked so far, does support over a foot. I don't know. Let's try the GDPS. This one is the long range. This one's the long range Canadian model here. Let's see. We track way down in time. It kind of limits the snow for Georgia, but has it in the northern sections. We move more regional to the mid-Atlantic. Interesting. Yeah, not as much snow compared to what the GFS American and the European ECMWF had to say. There's a big difference there. A big difference. Interesting. Let's go ahead and see here. Let's see. Maranatha. I think I said that. Maranatha? Is that right? Saying hi. What's up? Hope we're doing good. Frank says it was windy today in Dayton, Ohio. Oh, yeah. No, it's windy here as well. It's been like, I was actually doing some weather data today. And the pressure, it was dropping, and then it just started launching like a plane taking off. It just went boom and just shot straight up. And then the winds, you can see, just go whoop, go straight up. And it's been like 20, 30 miles an hour. It's been pretty crazy. It's been very windy out there today. It's that little low pressure system that drove all that severe weather through. That's that low pressure system kicking off across the Midwest right now, which is pretty cool. Let's see here. I hope it does not head towards the Dallas-Fort Worth area because I don't want to get impacted by this, Caden. I don't blame you. Now I will have to burst your bubble here by saying there's a possibility we might see a bit of snow towards Dallas. Basically the NAM 3-kilometer model does support this, maybe a little bit towards Dallas, mostly east of Dallas there. I don't know. It's been a little snow shower popping up here. Let's see, Mara. Oh gosh, is it okay if I just call you Mara or Mara? I'm gonna call you Mara. Is that okay? But anyways, like I said, obviously we have a bunch of maybe some snow popping off in that. I wouldn't get your hopes up too much with that. Then we get a big jet of moisture that moves its way up here from the southeast to actually further in from the Gulf of Mexico into the southeast, I should say. And then later on at the end of this model here, it starts supporting that transition from snow. This one shows a lot of mixed precipitation. Kind of a lot of sleet and freezing rain, which obviously sleet and freezing rain is a lot worse. It is obviously a lot worse because there's slippery areas and like I said, especially on the mountains and there's a lot of hills and stuff. That's the last thing you want is ice with hills. That is the worst. But that is kind of what we are, kind of what we're seeing here, which is definitely interesting. But, anyways, back over here to the models. We'll take a look here back over what we were looking at. So, we're going to grab the blend of models here. Like I said, this is obviously the mixed opinion here. Like I said, what we usually look at, with all these. We looked at the GFS, we looked at the European. They both show over a potential foot, maybe even more, across some of those Smoky Mountain, Blue Ridge Mountain areas. Obviously between, like, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia. And then we just looked at was the GDPS model, which was basically the Canadian model, and this one did not support as much. Now, let's take a look at the blend of models. It takes a whole bunch more models than the ones we already looked at and blends them together, averages them out. So, as of now, it does not show that much. But you know what? It's something. And, this is going to be a snow for a lot of people that have not seen snow so far this year. I mean, like I said, there's a little possibility of some snow reaching as far down south as, like, Alabama even. Mississippi, it looks like, too. Let's see. Southeast. It might not be much, but at least you'll probably be in the possibility of seeing some snow. Maybe some Mississippi areas. Maybe Alabama there. Possibly there towards Georgia. South Carolina is included with that, possibly. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, we're obviously going to get more info as this thing gets closer here. Yeah, but it really shows that target area, I should say. With the heaviest amount of accumulation, it really shows that essentially being across these regions. Like I said, we take a look between the models. That is where the heaviest snowfall is going to be likely. Areas of eastern Tennessee, western portions of North Carolina there, a lot of the southwestern and western areas of Virginia, and the eastern sides of, basically the eastern sides of West Virginia. Kind of looks like a big pickle I drew. It's pretty funny. But anyways, like I said, that's just a little interesting here. Now, just out of fun here, let's take a look at the ice accumulation. Oh, there might be a little bit of ice. Because like I said, the latest models, like I said, with the latest NAM 3-kilometer model, at the very end of the model run, you can see how there's a lot of sleet right here and a lot of freezing rain mixing in with it. Which, that could be a growing concern for that, possibly. Will this storm be affecting Toronto, Canada? Probably not. It's a little too early to tell anyways. But like I said, you can see there how it starts changing from, you can see how it starts changing from sleet. It goes from rain, you can see the big moisture comes up here, and it starts changing to snow, and then a lot of sleet across the way, which obviously that could lead to probably a little bit of ice, especially across like southwestern Virginia from what it looks like. Could be seeing a bit of ice there. But anyways, that's that. That's, just something we need to watch out here for it. Like I said, we get a lot of moisture coming up here. First of all, we had the cold front that moved through. It's moving east here now. And then we have basically another low pressure system that's just kind of spiraling off, tracking its way to the east, and a big jet of moisture basically pulls out from under it. You can see there's a low pressure there, and it kicks up and starts a new system. So that's essentially what's happening here right now. It's definitely a little weird looking, but it's pretty cool. But anyways, I'll tell you what, we're gonna move over here to the future model, or even further. We're gonna take a look at this possible severe weather thing here we're talking about. Because I don't know if you guys have heard, but obviously we had yesterday's severe weather event, and now we have the possibility of yet again another severe weather possibility, kind of across the same regions. Starting off here maybe towards Texas. Let's see, I got some snowflakes here earlier today in Texas. I got you. Yeah, wow. Yeah, it looks like that's actually a thing here. ECMW, or the NAM 3-kilometer model. That's what I was trying to say here. We go way back here to the beginning of the models. It kind of shows a little bit of snow moving towards like Amarillo, Lubbock region, kind of the western areas of Texas. Up there towards the Panhandle, kind of shows maybe a little bit of snow kicking off there. Let's see, this is around 7 p.m. So actually, let's pull up the real radar view here. Let's take a look and see what's happening right now. Which I'm a little interested to see what's happening. Let's take a look here towards Amarillo. Well, there is a little streak of moisture, but let's see if that's any snow. Yeah, for some reason, this is just showing a lot of rain. Temperatures, mid-30s, so even if it did fall, it probably wouldn't stick. Amarillo, temperature 34. So yeah, if it falls, it's not even really going to stick, except if you're on the backside here. There's a little bit cooler temperatures. I think that's probably for more of those upper level regions where it's a little bit more higher up and the temperature is a little bit more cooler. But that's right now. Like I said, that's current right now in Amarillo. It looks like a lot of rain. But according, like I said, we were looking back at the models, and it was showing that maybe changing to some snow. I mean, maybe tonight, as the temperatures do get colder. I mean, obviously, that's probably going to change into snow. They did show it a little bit more further south, too. There you go. I'll actually switch over here to Lubbock. Yeah, there you go. A bit of precipitation here towards Lubbock. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. But we'll see. We'll see how that kicks off there. Haley says hi, Andrew. What's up, Haley? Hope you're doing good. Glad to have you here. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one. We'll see. Let's take a look at towards Dallas just to get a little look here. Dallas is pretty clear for the most part. Temperatures are actually pretty nice, mid 60s. Wow, really kind of nice. I mean, after all that crazy stuff we had the other day. Anyways, but yeah, let's move over here to the models, guys. We're gonna take this down in time. Because like I said, we just talked about that snow. We'll talk more about it again later on. But I want to talk about that severe weather possibility. Because, like I said, there is a possibility we could see a bit of severe weather here. Yet again, kind of for some of the same areas. We've seen this cold front move through yesterday. So, severe weather spectrum, we're going to take a look here at the overall energy. Like I said, this is a mixed layer cape. Like I said, I'm not trying to make this look scary or anything like that. This is basically just the energy that's needed for thunderstorms. Look for values over 500, and you're good. So if you see anything over 500, you see that 0. If you go over here, it's showing around 200. If it goes over 500, that means possibility for some good storms here. But that is, that's what we're looking at. So we track our way down here in time. We obviously have a little bit of that instability off there on the Gulf of Mexico. We have the first system that moves through, and then the secondary system. You can notice, boom, a big shot of instability there, really kicking up. So look at that. Wow, 2,000. Holy cow, that's a lot of energy. Like I said, you guys don't realize. Like I said, 500 is needed for thunderstorms. I mean, for severe storms. I've seen severe thunderstorms kick off here in about 500, and over 1,000 is typically you're in the good zone. But we're over 2,000 here. That's pretty strong. Caden says storm food. Basically, yeah, it's the storms requirements essentially. Think of it as like the fuel essentially. But anyways, let's just grab a little sounding. You guys probably won't be able to see that. Oh. Okay, I think we might have another tornado event here. Holy cow. Okay, so you see how, like I said, you see how it hooks like this? You see that little hook, like a pirate hook? So what that is that's changing that. That's telling us the winds are changing. So here at the surface, with the winds pushing north, and as you go up, they change northeast. That is a change in wind direction with elevation, and that is telling us that we might have the necessary requirements for possibly some tornadic activity here. Let's see. We're going to take a look here with the lower level jet stream. Basically, the winds here pretty close to the ground. Oh, yeah. No, that's not good. Holy cow, dude. We're talking 50-plus knots. This... If this plays out to what this is showing us, I mean, if this plays out, essentially, to what this model is talking about, this would be probably a lot worse than the last event we had yesterday. First of all, there's a lot of energy. There's a lot of thunderstorm fuel in the atmosphere, and there is also a lot of things here. Oh my gosh, this is actually happening for Valentine's Day. That's a little interesting. Yeah, this is happening for Valentine's Day. Imagine the Valentine's Day severe weather event. Good God. Yeah, that's not good looking. Yeah, when you see something like that, the winds towards the surface crashing up into like the 60 knot range, 40 to 60 knots, that's when you need to start being a little concerned. Let's take a look at the upper levels. Basically, oh yeah, big old. We got that first system that moves through, big old trough, and then we have another system. Yep, there we go, that other trough. Oh, this has nothing but bad news over it. Like I said, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but like I said, I mean, this, when any forecaster sees this, this is not something you want to see. This is something that you really don't want to see. A mixture of those strong winds and a mixture of that instability we were talking about there. Like I said, there's a lot of energy in the atmosphere there. I mean, look at that. That's just ridiculous. Yeah, we might have a potential outbreak up ahead. Once again, it's showing here kind of for... Okay, hold on. That's for the 14th. Let's see. I was getting time a little mixed up here. This is kind of showing for the 15th. What? The 15th and 16th. Interesting. Well, let's take a look at the 15th and 16th then. Let's see. 50 millibars. Let's see. 15th. Oh, no, that's for that event. Okay, well, still, lower level jet, though, he's still about 50 knots. That's, if anything, that's even worse. Because it's covering a much more larger area. Holy cow. Dude, yeah, guys, I think that we could be in line for something nasty here. Let's look at the GFS's opinion. That was the European model. We'll take a look at that right now. Let's see. Instability here. Yeah, this is not good. Let's see. We have more advection. Okay, yeah, for the 16th. Holy cow, dude. Yeah. It's about the same. About nearly 1,000 to 2,000 joules per kilogram. That, like I said, that's a lot of energy. This one's kind of more like 1,000 to 1,500, but still, that it would not do much of a difference of that instability difference. That is not good. Yeah, this is looking worse than that last system we were watching here. Like I said, the more I look at it, we have the first little thing moving through on the 14th, and then we have another one here for the 16th. See, over 50 knots. Yeah, really anything over 50 knots of those winds towards the surface, it's not good. So yeah, we got the big hooking hodograph. Like I said, you see that big hook up there? That's telling us that the wind direction is changing with altitude. Dew points in the upper 60s. Very dry atmosphere. That's a hail producer too, I'm sure. Downdraft energy 1,100. Dear God. Like that's values of a big event. That is values of a big event. Like I said, for my non-people who don't really understand the models and stuff like that, that's a very concerning thing to talk about here. Like that's the worst I've seen in the models this year. Yeah, that's going to be playing out quite nasty, but we're going to have to definitely keep you guys updated on this one. This one's yeah, we ain't letting this one fly under the radar. This one is going to be okay, once we got a little disturbed. There we go. So you can see how, yeah. So we basically have a look at that. Dew points up in the 50s. We got a little disturbance moving through. A little cold front moving through. Then some of that air comes back, and a big blast of that air pushes it all out. Which, let me play that here in fast motion. You can see it just continuously gets blasted. Ooh, yeah, that's not good. So you can see it's just a big cold front there. You can see the dry air. This is that dry and cold air I always tell you guys about. Basically, this dry and cold air is pushing east, and then we have a lot of warm air. A lot of warm and moisture-filled air that drives north. And that collision point that you see, essentially, right there, that's the cold front. This right here. This whole line right there, that's the cold front. That's right where that frontal boundary is. So, yeah, that's quite a drop-off. I want to see the temperatures with that, actually. I'm a little curious to see. Oh, yeah. Now, that's going to have a big temperature fluctuation on it. Look at that. So southern areas of Mississippi, I mean, we're talking 70s, and behind the front, we're talking like the upper 50s. That's like at least a 10-degree drop. And it looks like after that, the cold temps are going to really return for the country. Yeah, that's the freezing line afterwards for the night of, or the morning of the 17th. Which that would, that's pretty far out there, but still, that's kind of a likely scenario, knowing that we've seen this on the models for many days. That's the thing. We have sometimes we have a exception with looking in long-range models if we've seen repeating trends over and over, and that's something we've been seeing for the last couple of days. And usually, whenever you see it for the last couple of days, that's a good indicator that this event will likely play out. And I'm pretty confident about it. I give it about an 80% chance. I mean, that's a good probability. I think it's going to happen. But like I said, it's just quite nuts to see, like what the European and the GFS have to say about this system that's moving through here. I mean, like I said, definitely has caught my attention, and is not something a forecaster loves to see here. Unless you're a storm chaser, then that's kind of a cool thing. Which Sometimes a storm chase. If I was down there, I'd be happy. But like I said, obviously, this is not good for the people's perspective, for the people who does not storm chase and the people who live here. You know, like I said, you see all that advection. Basically, just a whole bunch of warm air that just starts driving its way into, driving its way into the south. And then, like I said, you have that cold air once again that's backing from the back here. And you got the main engine, which is like a low pressure system that's spinning counterclockwise in that direction. And then the overall motion's moving northeast. So you see what I'm saying, you guys? I mean, this is just crazy. So that's all the energy that's needed for thunderstorms, essentially. So that's basically all the instability that's there. Your cold front would be associated along a line like that. So that's kind of where your cold front would be. But like I said, all of that energy for thunderstorms exists right in here. Everything in here, that is all thunderstorm food, essentially. I'm gonna go off of what Caden had to say. It's thunderstorm food, essentially. I usually call it the fuel, but I mean it's the fuel, essentially. The fuel, the food, whatever you want to call it. That right there. That's not good. That's a lot of energy. Like I said, value is over 2,000. I mean, like I said, typically for a severe weather event, I mean, if anything's over 1,000, that's a good amount of instability you need. You really don't need any more to kick off any nasty storms. But we have double that, which is a little bit more concerning. So that's for forecast hour 162. Let's move over here to 850 millibar. Let's see. Forecast hour 162. Control backtrack. There we go. Yep. And let's see. Where did I have that? I'm gonna highlight that area again. Actually, we're gonna do a little bit of forecasting on here. We're gonna do something we really haven't done on the channel much. This is me breaking down things. I usually do this in my free time, and since this has caught my eye here right now, we're gonna do this on camera. So typically, how I love to forecast here is I like to look at trends. So I'm going to grab overall the instability, the good chunk of instability, essentially. So that's where the buff of the energy is, according to the ECMWF. We take a look at the GFS next, same area, see how it's still lined up. The GFS shows a lot of that energy. Oh, went a little too far there. There you go. Yeah, the GFS shows a little bit of that energy a little bit pushed further south. So then next what I usually do is I'm going to grab it at its peak. And I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this. So the overall energy exists up to here. So that area down here, we're going to circle real quickly, is basically a for sure area that's going to see a lot of energy in the atmosphere. Between or a good probability, I should say, because like I said, obviously we have that's the mixture between the European and the GFS there. So yeah, there's a lot of energy available in that area. So eastern Texas, I mean Louisiana, looks like it's going to be a prime target again out of this event here. So that's definitely a little interesting, but let's go and take a look at this. So next up, we're going to look at the winds, forecast hour 162. So this is relatively close to the ground here. Yeah, we're talking 40, 50 knots of lower level jet here. That's a lot of winds here. So like I said, a lot of warm air is pushing in basically the northeasterly direction. There we go. Basically pushing in the northeasterly direction. So 40 to 50 knots. 40 to 50 knots there. So that's across the lower levels. And then we move over here to the mid portions of the atmosphere for forecast hour 162. Once again, it is basically the 16th. And you see how the wind direction changes a bit. How now it's moving more like this. You see that? See how the wind direction changed? That is what we use to look for tornado probability. And if there's a big change in the winds in the lower to mid portion of the atmosphere, where all that energy is located, that is essentially where we have the greatest potential. And like I said, I think Louisiana might be in line for some bad weather again here. But anyways, the mid levels are about 50. We'll say 50 to 60 knots. Yeah, about 50 to 60 knots. So it's about 10 knots more in elevation. So you go between about 4,000 feet or 1 kilometer, and you go all the way up to about 30,000 feet, which I think is 10 kilometers. And basically over that distance, the wind speed does not change much, only about 10 knots, which is about 15 miles an hour. Then obviously the direction changes. Like I said, towards the ground we have the winds moving northeast, and then as you go up, they change more northeast. So winds at the bottom kind of moving, pretty much northeast, and as you go up, they change more to the northeast. So that's showing the spin. That's showing the wind directional change here in the atmosphere. So that's essentially showing us that the winds are changing in that direction. So they're basically moving and curving. And like I said, if we take a look at the hodograph, like I was telling you guys, we'll go ahead and grab one right across where I have that little marker. And look what you see. See how the little wind bar is pushing north, there towards the ground. This is the surface. This is about 30,000 feet up. So the winds are screaming north, and then they change to northeast. And you can see how there's a little hook. There's a little bit of a hook there. And like I said, that's basically showing us that we have that wind direction change and that wind speed change with the altitude, essentially. Which is, that's what the sounding represents. And like I said, a lot of energy in the atmosphere. Maybe a little cap on that sounding, which would be a little hard for thunderstorms to fire off, but I think they could do it with that frontal boundary, with that cold front. Very, very strong. 10, 15, 20 degree difference. Could definitely fire off that. Dew points here in the upper 60s. Like I said, very, very dry atmosphere throughout the mid-range here, which obviously that could throw some hail. Decape here over 1,100, which, like I said, what that means typically is that we have the potential for some downbursts. So basically for some strong damaging winds. With those values maybe up to 70 miles an hour. So maybe some gusty winds up to 70 miles per hour out of some thunderstorms out of that line. Perhaps a few large, violent tornadoes theoretically could be on the table, and maybe even some big hailers. With that dry mid levels, which is a little concerning here. If Louisiana gets a tornado warning again, I hope the National Weather Service issues a tornado warning for Louisiana. Yeah, hopefully. Well, like I said, obviously yesterday we had that one. That one system here. Or that one storm yesterday that they did not warn, which definitely needed a warning. But yeah, holy cow, dude! The models, yeah, they're not playing very nice here. Let's see, this is for the 12th. So this is that first little system. So this is the snow system. We'll take a look back at the snowfall, you guys. I just wanted to really dive into analysis there, and you guys can kind of see. Hopefully, you understood at least some of what I was talking about. Because I understand for a lot of people that's probably not really something you'd understand too well. But hopefully that made sense for you guys. Look at this. Big old belt. Big old kink in the jet stream here. We call it a trough. A big change in wind direction. Basically think of it as like a NASCAR speed track. You have the car coming down and it just turns around the turn and comes back up. So that's the wind speed. Wind direction. It starts at the south on the backside. Your low pressure system's right here. There you go. There's that counterclockwise rotation I was telling you. That's a good representation of showing it. How they low pressure systems rotate counterclockwise here. But you can see how the winds really ramp up. And like I said, typically on this side, the right-hand side of the low pressure system, this is where all that severity is located. Because your winds are pulling north, and that's where all your fuel is pulled up from. We kind of turned this from more of a forecast into like an educational type of thing here. But anyways, hopefully that made sense for you. But yeah, let's go ahead and move over here to the winter weather side of things. We're going to take a look at the snowfall here. I'm a little curious to see. Let's see. We'll take a look back over at the precipitation type here. Maybe this will work. All right, yeah, there you go. So you can kind of see areas in like Alabama, maybe Georgia, areas of like southeastern Tennessee, like towards Chattanooga, those regions. The Smoky Mountains, maybe western South Carolina. Probably gonna be seeing some snow. I'm gonna grab a sounding here, just look at the lapse rates, which we look pretty good, but kind of on a boundary here. Which let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's the lapse rates. Basically, if you don't know what that is, like I said, it's basically the temperatures throughout the atmosphere. So at the surface, the temperature 32 degrees, and the freezing point, which I'll show you, as you go up in the atmosphere, this is all above freezing, this is all below freezing. And you can see how your red, being that temperature line, is all below freezing. So we're looking good for some snow. And if there's any time that the red goes up into above freezing and goes back, that would be likely in the form of freezing rain. Because it starts to snow, and then it melts, and then it refreezes by the time it hits the ground. Oh, probably sleet too, which hopefully that makes sense there. But like I said, I mean, seriously, there could be some areas here. Perhaps a little bit of support here towards Mississippi. Maybe they're towards Alabama, towards Georgia, towards Tennessee, you know, kind of towards South Carolina, North Carolina region. Like I said, you know, a lot of these places have not seen. A lot of these places have not seen any snow this year so far. And obviously, I know you guys. I know there's a lot of people who want the snow, and I know there's a lot of people who do not want the snow. But this is going to be the maker for you. This might be one of the only systems you might see this year. I hate to say that for some of those snow lovers down here, but this might be one of the only systems we might see. You know, this is the only potential we've seen so far. But it's there. It exists. But yeah, so watch out for that. We're going to have to keep an eye on it. Like I said, you might be wondering about totals and stuff like that. Totals at this point is still way too out of the question. Like I said, we looked at the possibilities here, which I'm going to go ahead and show you guys just as an early preview. Now, what you're about to see, don't get your hopes up quite yet. Like I said, don't get your hopes up quite yet for what you see, because you know this can still drastically change. If we're going to look at a few models, we'll take a look at about 4 models here, so we can kind of show what the differences are. But the American GFS here on this system actually does not go very nice. Shows that snowfall, the bottom portion towards like central Georgia with a decent amount of accumulation, maybe 3 to 5 inches. Remember, don't trust this though. You know, don't take this too serious. It's still, first of all, too early, and 2, that's just one model. So the GFS here indicated kind of in the yellow there pretty much just shows essentially how we are seeing, you know, basically the GFS does kind of show us there. That's kind of where the snow is expected to be in. Now, if we take a look here over at the European model, the European model also supports a lot of heavy snow, but kind of more for that area here down towards, you know, the Smoky Mountains, you know, western North Carolina and eastern Tennessee there. Once again, kind of towards like Chattanooga. So we're gonna highlight the area to the ECMWF. We'll use ECMWF in blue, which is the European model, but still has that snow driving down kind of across those regions there. So you know, that's something to watch out here for. So that's the snow out of this one. Now, like I said, we take a look at the GDPS. This one is the Canadian model, and the Canadian model does not support as much, as you can obviously tell. We'll use red for the Canadian model. So we'll go over here. You can kind of see how essentially, yeah, the Canadian model is a little bit different here. But overall, I mean, for what we can see, the overlapping shows all that target zone between every single model we've looked at so far, showing snow in northern Georgia, southeastern and eastern portions of Tennessee, western upper levels of North Carolina, a lot of the Virginia, you know, the Appalachian Plateau region of Virginia, you know, obviously showing all that, which is definitely interesting. Let's see, I live in that circle. Ooh, says Toby. Well, Toby, stay safe out there. Yeah, it definitely looks like a decent amount of snow could be actually out of this here. Let's do one more. I don't know if UK Met. Yes, UK Met does support this. Okay, let's see. So UK Met even lower than what the GDPS had to say. So we'll use this one for green. So the UK Met kind of shows it right in here. So I'll tell you what. So the probability here, that's if you guys are just now joining and wonder where all these scribbles are, these are the models, every single model we looked at, and where the snow is going to be located. And if you are across the dark green, congratulations, you are most likely going to be seeing some snow out of this here. Like I said, mostly the most dense area between the models shows basically in western North Carolina and basically southwestern Virginia, essentially. So obviously out there towards, once again, the western upper levels and the southwestern Virginia area. But this is more for the mountains from what it looks like in those models. But overall, like I said, that's what we're looking at. But like I said, we go back between the ECMWF and the European, or sorry, the European and the GFS. This was the GFS model here, and then we had the European model inside of it. Like I said, that was they're both talking maybe over a foot, which is crazy. We'll do one more model here. This is the blend. Like I said, this is basically the National Weather Service blend of models. Now this one's not as crazy because there is some models that supports a lot of heavy snow, and there's some models that supports no snow. So that's why it averages out to very low totals right now, which would not be surprising if that does go up in totals. But like I said, a lot of the heaviest stuff is, once again, here towards the mountains. Once again, eastern Tennessee, western, North Carolina, places here towards, western Virginia, eastern West Virginia. But like I said, the overall snow possibility, I mean, there is models that does support snow as far down south as central Georgia. For central northern Alabama, even portions here towards Mississippi. That's all a very big possibility, in which we should probably watch out for. It also does have some of that snow moving up into the northeast, but not as much. Toby says it was 70 degrees today. Because of that warm air coming up from the south, from that thunderstorm system we were talking about. Like I said, basically what was going on there is we had that low pressure system that was tracking northeast, and like I said, these things rotate counterclockwise, so all that Gulf of Mexico air was coming up here towards the region, creating it a lot more warmer, essentially. But like I said, once that cold front moves through the region, obviously the temperatures are going to drop because that cold air starts getting pushed to the east, essentially. But anyways, that's that. Like I said, there has been a little bit of support of maybe a little bit of ice out of this system too, which is kind of a growing concern. Something that's kind of new on the models. Obviously, starting to show a bit of a bit of a possibility of some ice accumulation out of this, which is definitely possible. Once again, maybe for the western areas of North Carolina, maybe for western Virginia, eastern West Virginia. Once again, that's kind of what the blend has to say here. We are 6 days out, but I'm going to hold off on rainfall totals. Yeah, I would hold off on those for a little. Like I said, once again, I mean, these accumulations you should not be trusting too seriously right now because it's still a few days out. I mean, obviously, whenever you're a few days out, the uncertainty is a little higher than whenever it's closer. But based off of what we've seen so far, I'll go ahead and draw a little zone here to kind of represent things. So this system will be impacting, obviously, the southeast here. Like I said, obviously, if you're across these areas, I mean, there's a possibility you could be seeing a bit of the snow here. Maybe around in these regions, according to the models, kind of has these areas highlighted. And maybe seeing a little bit of snow. Now, that's not really accumulating. That's a mixture of accumulating snow and non-accumulating snow. So that's just seeing snow in general, essentially. It's possible. It's definitely possible. They're towards, northern Mississippi, northern central Alabama, especially there towards central northern Georgia, western South Carolina, western North Carolina, Virginia, maybe even into Maryland, and eastern West Virginia there. So those areas will probably see some snow out of this. Maybe. It's a possibility, and which we should definitely keep an eye out here for. I mean, you can kind of see how some of the models there does support it. Honestly, some of the models actually supports that going even further up to the northeast, towards like Pennsylvania and all that. Some of the models do actually support that as well, which is a little bit interesting. Look at those wind gusts out of this thing. We obviously have some very windy conditions here today. With this new system, it's probably going to get gusty for the southeast. And then we have another system that's going to be moving through later on, further down in time. Probably not good. Matthew says, hey from Louisiana, what's up? Toby says, I'll try to post some snow pictures Saturday if Discord comes. All right. Let's see here. Canton area of North Carolina, question mark. So for Canton, let me actually go ahead and pull up Canton, North Carolina here. I need to first figure out what that's at. So yeah, Canton, obviously they're in the upper elevations of North Carolina. I'd say you're quite probable of seeing some snow there. Yeah, it definitely looks quite probable for you. Across the southeast, like I said, we take a look over towards that region. You're kind of right in here, kind of close to Asheville in a way. Like I said, the GFS American model, like I said, once again, don't trust these snowfall totals to be exact, but just get an idea off of what these have to say here. It just has a little reference here, but it kind of shows, once again, don't trust these too much, but this shows up to a foot nearby. The European model supports, let's see, we'll drop down and run, because I was not done loading yet. Also the ECMWF actually shows a little more than a foot, maybe near 1.5 feet being possible. Once again, still too early for totals though. But however, the Canadian model, we'll move over here. This one does not support local areas, so we'll support the regional. Now this one supports, kind of around maybe 3 to 6 inches essentially. So you see how there's a big fluctuation, one model showing a foot, one showing 1.5 feet, one showing 0.5 foot. So, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of hopping all over the place right now. So just keep that on the lookout. But I mean, it's definitely something to watch. Absolutely. UK Met supports this as well. Yeah, this one only shows about 1 to 3 inches. So you see what I mean? A good indicator of why you should not be trusting those models quite yet. But overall, I mean, every model we looked at does support snow for you. So that's a good indicator that you will likely see some snow out of this, Let's see here. We are supposed to have storms and high winds beginning tonight. Well, obviously stay safe out there. There is a risk out here. I tell you what. For today, let's see where that severe weather risk is today. It's nothing worth coverage. Yeah, they kind of have that down here towards like Alabama region. There's a little bit that cold front's right there. You can obviously tell it's kind of decaying. But yeah, that's going to be moving through like Montgomery region eventually. Temperatures ahead are about mid-upper 50s, which is definitely interesting. Wife says South Carolina. Yeah, South Carolina is not expected to see anything severe tonight, essentially. There is actually a risk tomorrow, though. I will say that. Actually, I forgot about that. Yep, tomorrow there's a severe weather risk for South Carolina. For southern South Carolina, towards like Hilton Head Island, Beaufort region. Yeah, there's a possibility for maybe a few two severe storms across those areas. Also, southern Georgia and northern areas of Florida, including portions of the Panhandle, mostly just east of Pensacola. This does include Jacksonville and Gainesville. Does not include Daytona or Orlando or Tampa. Does not. But let me actually pull this up here. I'm a little curious now that I'm looking at this. Let me see if the Storm Prediction Center supports any tornadoes tomorrow. Because if tomorrow's threat, like I said, if tomorrow's threat gets a little, if it has any tornado probability, we might try to go live on it since we really don't have anything else going on. Yeah, there's a little tornado probability there. Also damaging wind possibilities. Yeah, today we had that Ohio Valley threat here, which that is no longer in place, but yeah, tomorrow's threat, yeah, that moves southeast for Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Savannah, Georgia region, Gainesville, Florida, Albany, Georgia. Those are some major areas that's included with tomorrow's little risk. Day 3, there's also a little marginal risk here across, like, Daytona area as that cold front finally exits. Yeah, they don't have anything there on the upcoming system. It's for the 14th, 15th, 16th. So between days 5 and 7, that's for that next possible severe weather event here. So that would be basically from Monday to Wednesday. Like I said, we're watching another severe weather system that looks very bad. It looks a lot worse than the previous one we had yesterday. Like I said, obviously yesterday was forecasted to be worse than it was, but I'm talking the way that it was forecasted, it looks even worse than that. Which, like I said, obviously I hate to say that, but I'm a little concerned. Like I said, typical things you don't want to see while forecasting is essentially what we've been looking at here on the models. It's definitely really not that good here. Wife says, thanks, Andrew, no problem. Let's see here. Proxy with a $30 super chat. What's up, Proxy? Thank you. Oh my gosh, that seriously means a lot to me, Proxy. Thank you so much for that. $30 super chat saying, hi everyone, sorry to be late, but didn't want to miss it. NWW16 stream. No problem, Proxy. Once again, thank you so much for that. That's super, super, super nice of you. big thank you, Proxy. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, double thumbs up for you. But like I said, obviously we're going to move over here back to the severe weather side of things here. And like I said, we take a look at some of the models here. I mean, it's pretty brutal. Not going to lie. It's a little bit brutal here. We switch over to the southern plains. So like I said, we take a look at the overall energy that's in the atmosphere. Like I said, think of this as the fuel. Like I said, just think of this as like the fuel, basically the food that the thunderstorms need. Yeah, let me go ahead and fit this to the screen for you guys. The fuel that the storms need, think of that's what we're looking at. And look, anything value-wise over 500, that's supported for some severe storms, essentially. So we track way down in time. We get a little bit of advection popping up here. A little bit of moisture, or a little bit of instability moves through. But then we have a big shot. You see that? A big boatload of area here. That's essentially showing us that we have the energy values nearly 2,000. And like I said, over 500, that's supported for severe weather, and we're 4 times that. Which, first of all, that's a lot of energy. Like I said, that's forecast hour number 162. You see that? That's basically here for Thursday, February 16th. Basically early morning hours. It's around 2 a.m. Eastern, which was 1 o'clock Central. But that's that. So, obviously, that's where the overall energy is located, right around in there. For forecast hour 162. And like I said, we take a look here over at those, we take a look here over at the winds, towards about, 4,000 feet up here or so for forecast hour 162. And look at that. The winds are screaming to the north at about 40 to 50 knots. Some locally towards 60. And like I said, with that being said, that is a lot of strong winds. Like I said, once again, it's only about 4,000 feet up here. It's really not that high up there. So obviously, the winds are moving in this direction. I'm going to use black for this. Yeah, like I said, a lot there towards the ground. The winds are moving from the southwest to the northeast. So the winds are blowing in this direction, moving to the northeast. Like I said, that's across about 4,000 feet up. And that's where all the energy was we were looking at there, where that little blue line is. So now as we move over here to the middle portion of the atmosphere, about 30,000 feet, about the height that a typical airliner would fly. About 30,000 feet, which is about 10 kilometers, I believe, something along that line, which is, like I said, something we need to watch out for. So once again, forecast hour 162. And there you go. So the winds, you can see how they change their direction a bit. And there you go. That's what gives us a tornado probability. You can see here that there is the winds now moving essentially more to the northeast. So you see how over elevation there's a wind directional change, and how it goes kind of more north towards the lower portions of the atmosphere, and as you go up, the wind direction kind of arcs to the northeast and moves more that way. So with that being said, that is the winds that needs to be required. That's the winds that's required for tornadoes to form, is that wind direction changing wind with altitude, essentially. And like I said, once again, that's the area we were just looking at there. We're going to bring that back. That's where all the energy was, and we have everything in place here. And like I said, we take a little sounding, basically a little view of the atmosphere. Don't get scared of what this looks like, but I just want you to pay attention to this right here. Pay attention to that area right there. I should probably use a different color there, but just pay attention to this. Don't be paying attention to all that stuff. I know it looks creepy, but don't be paying attention to that. This is right here where we need to be paying attention to. So, like I said, we have, you can notice how there's a little bit of a hook here, right? You know how it looks like a pirate hook? So basically what that is telling us is that here, we'll also pay attention to this side here. So this is about 30,000 feet up here. This is about 4,000 feet. So, like I said, the winds, you can see how they're kind of moving to the north here. They're starting up north, and as you go up in the elevation, you can see how they change to the northeast. So there's that wind change there. And basically what this is doing is plotting the wind change with speed. So obviously the speed's increasing, knowing it's further going away from that 0 point. So it's increasing because it's obviously further away from that 0. Hopefully that makes sense. I know it's a little confusing, but just think of this. If you see a little hook like that, essentially that just means tornadoes. And in that case, that's pretty concerning, which is a little problematic. I'm a little concerned about it. Like I said, we compared this to the GFS model, which, like I said, you can't just look at one model in particular. Like I said, we track way down in time here. Yeah, forecast hour 162, which is around the same time here. Look at that. Wind still northeast at around 50 knots, so that's pretty much the same there. We take a look here towards the lower atmosphere. And you can see here for forecast hour 162, yeah, kind of in the same mode, maybe 30, 40 knots, which, like I said, 30, 40 knots of winds, that is definitely supportive of some severe weather there, which is definitely a little bit interesting. And there you go, forecast hour 162. Really starting to show a lot of that heavy instability. This was kind of around 1,000 to 1,500 in comparison to the European model. So a little bit less instability, but still, that's plenty enough fuel that's needed. So, like I said, that's what I'm saying. I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little concerned about that event here. Once again, it's been popping up in the models here. We go down several runs from now. We take a look here out in time, and you notice how it still shows it happening there. You know, which is a bit concerning. And it seems like in the latest models, it seems like it's getting more and more intense, which is never a good sign. Obviously not a good sign. So we're going to have to keep on watching that there. But anyways, like I said, back to snow though. Like I said, I am monitoring areas here in the southeast that should indeed watch out for some snow here. Because like I said, it's definitely looking a little bit crazy. We take a look here over back at my other view. Like I said, obviously I'm watching out for the possibility of some snow for areas in the south. Here's the NAM model. So we have the cold front, what's remained of that moving through. We get a big streak of moisture moving up, a little bit of snow falling for Arkansas region. Low pressure system pulls down here right over Louisiana. That moisture gets wrapped up. Colder air starts backing in and turns all that to snow. So that's what's happening there. So basically areas that could see snow includes like Alabama, areas here towards, Georgia. Oh, sorry, that was a model a long time ago. There we go. There's the new model. Still showing the same thing though, essentially, which is pretty crazy. So yep, there's that big moisture kick, and boom, still some snow being supported there. So I think areas in Georgia. Yeah, I mean I think areas in Georgia here, maybe Alabama, central northern Alabama. You know, areas here toward like Birmingham, maybe. Yeah, Huntsville, Birmingham regions. You know, up there in up in Alabama, might be seeing a bit of snow there. Same thing maybe towards Atlanta, Georgia, showing a bit of snow where it kind of runs in those regions there. Definitely something to watch out for, you know. It's definitely a little interesting to see here. That's absolutely for sure. And like I said, the accumulation process is still way too early to be talking about, but like I said, it's possible that we could see a decent amount. We'll go over the accumulations, guys, and then we're going to head off here for the night, because we've been live here for over an hour now, or near an hour, 58 minutes. But anyways, like I said, accumulations, once again, are way too early to tell, but we're going to look at them to show you what a starting point to look at is. So the total snowfall accumulation here, once again, we're going to circle the areas like we did last time. So with this upcoming system, the model, the GFS, goes crazy. Some areas here patchy, over 8 foot of snow. And we'll go ahead and circle this. With, like I said, the GFS will use red. Sorry, no, we'll use a different color for GFS. We'll use green for GFS here. So the American model is in green. So that's kind of where the heaviest snow is kind of shown here in the American GFS. Once again, maximum of some areas here, maybe at well over a foot. European model, believe it or not, is actually a little bit more aggressive on this one. We track our way down here in time. Boom, there you go. Actually, I should probably drop down a run, because that one's not finished loading yet. But there we go. We track our way down here through time, and boom. So this one's actually a little bit more isolated towards the south. For the European model, we'll use blue. So this one actually kind of shows that snow kind of right around in here, essentially. So that's kind of where the other model shows that. And like I said, obviously, yeah, the accumulations here is maybe near 2 feet. But once again, don't trust those accumulations right now. Then of course, like I said, here's a big game changer here. Here's the GDPS model. This one does not show nearly as much as the other one. So once again, just a little bit of a reference, just to hold off on accumulations for now, because models aren't perfect. But still showing the snow over there. UK Met. This is another model up in the Europe region. Showing some more snow, a little bit less actually, maybe around 1 to 3 inches locally higher amount. So you can kind of see. I mean, see how each layer is. So if you're across the black region here, you have about an 80% chance, I'd say, of seeing some decent snow. If you're across the red, I would say you're probably in about a 60% chance of seeing some decent snow. If you're in the blue, I'd say it's probably a 50-50 shot. And if you're in the green, I'd say it's probably about 40% chance, something along those boundaries. Mostly for these regions here. And like I was saying, the most likely impacted areas will remain around the Blue Ridge and the Smoky Mountains regions. Kind of around in these regions here. That's kind of where I believe that the most impacts out of the snowfall would be. So kind of around there. But once again, accumulations are just a little too early to talk about, but like I said, it's a little crazy to see what both the major models have to say right now. It's a little odd, maybe up there towards a foot. One model is showing 2 feet is possible, so we'll see. But anyways, what's up, Slug? Hope you're doing good. Can I look at Kansas City before I head off? Haley, what do you want me to look at for Kansas City? Is there any specific thing you want me to look at? Like severe storms, if you want me to look at winter weather, anything? And like I said, if you guys are new to the channel, first of all, consider leaving a like and hitting that subscribe button, y'all. It'd be greatly appreciated. Once again, thank you all so much for being here. We've had a pretty crazy yesterday. It was actually a little bit crazy. Not in the terms of severe weather, but the fact we were live here for like 8 hours, 8.5 hours. My longest stream I've done, I think, was 14 hours on this channel for coverage, which is pretty daggone crazy, if you ask me. But anyways, but yeah, so Haley, let me know. What do you want me to look at? Storms. Okay, we'll look at the storms here. Okay, so we move over here towards Kansas City. Which Kansas City's over there. I don't think you're going to be impacted by these storms here, because the instability remains kind of isolated down to the south. Yeah, the fuel does not reach up there to you. So you're good. I don't think you're going to have any concerns of, oh, let me show you that. Yeah, I don't think you're going to have any concerns of thunderstorms. Because like I said, the thunderstorm fuel remains well east of you. Well south and east of you. So you're good. You are good. Well, anyways, my friends, I think that's going to go ahead and wrap it up. Yeah, we were live here over an hour now. I think it's a good quitting place here for tonight. Tomorrow, like I said, depending on things, we may do some more coverage with a little bit of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina little system moving through. We might be, we might go live on. Like I said, right now it's a margin risk here. No guarantees. I'll go live. Slight risk and higher, we always try to go live, but marginal risk here sometimes just depends on the event. We'll probably go live on it. But since there's tornadoes included and damaging wind possibilities, we probably will. We'll see. We'll see how things goes there. But anyways, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see how things goes. Once again, tomorrow, like northern Florida, southern Georgia, southern South Carolina is impacted here. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And once again, like I said, if y'all did enjoy this, consider leaving a like and hitting that subscribe button if y'all are new. Once again, Proxy, thank you so much for the awesome donation. Thank you seriously, Proxy. It means a lot. And once again, everybody, if you have any more questions, feel free to join our Discord down below. And until then, my friends, I think that's going to wrap it up here for tonight. So the stream's going to head off here in 2 minutes. That way you guys can say goodbye to your friends and family who might just be hanging around in chat. And alright, my friends, once again, thank you all so much for watching us. You guys absolutely rock. Consider hitting that subscribe button on the way out. Be greatly appreciated. Alright, my friends, catch you all here later on.
Seas 4 to 7 feet. Tuesday, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts up to 25 knots. Seas 5 to 7 feet. Tuesday night, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts up to 20 knots. Seas 4 to 6 feet. Here is the latest marine forecast for the following: Casco Bay, Maine. Small craft advisory in effect through Friday evening. Rest of tonight, south winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts up to 25 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet, raining till early morning, then a chance of rain late. Patchy fog late this evening. Areas of dense fog. Visibility 1 to 3 nautical miles, decreasing to 1 nautical mile or less. Friday, southwest winds 15 to 20 knots with gusts up to 30 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet, areas of dense fog in the morning with visibility 1 nautical mile or less. Friday night, west winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts up to 25 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Saturday, northwest winds 15 to 20 knots, diminishing to 10 to 15 knots in the afternoon. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Saturday night, west winds around 10 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Sunday, southwest winds 10 to 15 knots, diminishing to 5 to 10 knots in the afternoon. Seas around 2 feet. Sunday night, northwest winds 5 to 10 knots, becoming northeast after midnight. Seas around 2 feet. Monday, northeast winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts up to 25 knots. Seas around 2 feet. Monday night, north winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts up to 20 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Tuesday, northwest winds around 10 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Tuesday night, west winds 5 to 10 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Here are the latest automated marine observations along the Maine and New Hampshire coasts as of 7 p.m. At Mount Desert Rock, the wind was southeast at 20